So I wanted to take a minute to hop on and talk about a couple of things really quickly with you guys. First off, yes, I'm holding this on one of those little gyro stabilized tripod things. I want to say a couple things. First off, I hope you read my piece this morning about Pete Hegseth because, man, you want to talk about a shit show train wreck from hell. You want to talk about an administration sucking wind. You want to talk about people who are so deeply embarrassed. And I have heard from people inside the national security world today, both defense and otherwise, hint, hint, about how this couldn't have happened to a nicer asshole, how they are so angry at the embarrassing nature of this guy. I mean, look, his brother is a Homeland Security liaison. There's about 50 fucking liaisons at the Pentagon. None of them have a need to know about sensitive military operations regarding bombing the Houthis. And yet, somehow, he was on a signal chat along with Hegseth's wife and lawyer and other people. It is the worst, most egregious shit you've ever seen. But of course, he won't be fired for this. You realize that. I want everybody to like calibrate your expectations a little bit. Trump doesn't want to fire anybody because if he does, it's the deep state winning against Trump and the media pressuring him. And he really believes that that would be a sign that his administration doesn't have the power to force all those Republicans who voted for Pete Hegseth to behave and to sit still and to say nothing. Here, I'm going to sit down for a minute, maybe a little less dizzying. Yes, I live in Tallahassee, Florida. The airport here is not, shall we say, large. It is not capacious, but there is an advantage to it. Go through TSA in about 1 second. Um, but Trump, if he fires Hegseth right now, he looks weak in his mind. He looks stupid in his mind. Now, Trump is weak and stupid, but you should understand that he has a very keenly calibrated thing in his head about um, about being seen to be vulnerable to any kind of pressure. Now, he doesn't mind being pressured by Vladimir Putin. He kind of likes that. He thinks it's sexy. Um, but that's another story for another day. But what he has a problem with is being seen to responding to media pressure. Now, when you look at what happened at the Pentagon, three of his chief aides were fired. They've been put on paid leave. They were fired because, from what I'm told, a much lower level aide, who is one of these, I'm guessing, alt-right weirdos, looked at them all and said, "Oh, these are deep state agents who are not sufficiently loyal to Trump." Well, they were all loyal to Trump. They're all very, very heartbroken. His 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 main press and public affairs person at the Pentagon, Sean Parnell's boss. Um, sorry. Okay, I promise I won't. Thank you for your cooperation. Um, but three of his main people were accused of being leakers, and so they're out. And they're out not for any real reason, but because this is the game that's being played across the Trump administration. We've entered phase 2 of the personnel wars inside the administration. People have gotten a job, they've gotten a gig, they want the bigger one. They want something else. They want something better. They want something that pays more. They want something more access to the president. They want something with more access to the secretary. And so these three people who were all loyalists, who were all Hegseth guys, which I don't know what the fuck that means, have been shit canned. So the guy that ran Pentagon Public Affairs until a couple days ago wrote a piece this weekend in Politico. This is another guy. He was a Trump loyalist in the first administration, never criticized him that I know of. A Trump loyalist in the second administration. He's put in charge of Pentagon comms, which is a big job. Trust me, I've seen that one up close. Watched that take out tougher guys than this guy apparently. But all that comes down to a very ugly conclusion. They're going to stab each other in the front for the most part now. Trump's weakness on the economy, on foreign policy, he can't make the Ukraine deal. He's shitbagging the economy completely. Um, he now is definitely going to be more sensitive to being seen to be responsive to the pressures that he's brought on himself. He doesn't want to admit that he's wrong. He doesn't want to say that he's fucked it up. And if he admits that he's firing people because they fucked it up, like everyone, everyone around Susie Wiles and the tiny cadre of professionals in the White House, and it's a tiny cadre, you could sit them around a Waffle House table, wants Peter Navarro gone. But Trump can't fire Peter Navarro because that would be seen as weakness now. He wanted to fire Mike Waltz after Signalgate 1.0, but he couldn't because that would be seen as weakness. He wants to fire Pete Hegseth right now in his head, but he can't because that would be seen as weakness. But what is happening is because all the chess pieces are frozen on the board, is the internal machinations of the staff level will get worse and worse and worse. I'm going to tell you how you know this is happening. Andy Card once said something to the effect of, good White Houses leak on purpose, or good administrations leak on purpose. Bad administrations just leak. You're already seeing an uptick in off the record sources talking to the press. You're already seeing an uptick in sources were given the grant of anonymity so they could can speak candidly about the current crisis, all that stuff. You've seen that. And so when you have enterprise level reporting, New York Times and other folks that are ProPublica and other folks that are doing enterprise level reporting, it's going to get easier for them to get information out of this administration. It's going to get more efficient to cover the corruption and the BS and the lying. And I think there's something that's happening in the country right now, and it's this first sliver. It's the first crack of daylight underneath some of these folks in MAGA world. The economic implications of what's happened and what he's done are getting very, very ugly. And you're about to see, because of this insanity in the trade war, you're about to see. Will we ever see corporate media return on the Donald Trump? That's a fantastic question. Yes, Sharon, they will. And even Fox has been pretty tough on the trade war stuff. They're not being cheerleaders for this. At Fox News itself, a little bit more, but when you've got the New York Post and the Wall Street Journal, pretty much hitting him in the face over it, it's not a bad outcome. Somebody just said, "Is this an FBO?" No, this is the civil air terminal in Tallahassee Airport. My FBO is very nice, thank you, but we're not flying today. Um, so he's going to try to fire people that he can't fire in public, like Powell. Somebody just asked that question. He wants to fire Jerome Powell at the Fed. It will never happen. Let me just explain this in the simplest terms. If you want the market to collapse by 50 to 70%, fire Jerome Powell and put the Fed in charge of a Trump crony. Let me say that again. If you want the market to drop 50 to 70%, fire Powell and put the Fed in the hands of a Trump crony. Why, Jared Kushner's going to be a great Fed chairman. I'm sure we'll hear it from a million people, as we are all living in the radioactive ruins of what was the American economy, eating rats roasted over an open fire. It is literally the most demented and insane idea in the world to fire the Fed chairman during the course of an economic crisis that you caused. Well, I want to get back to this thing about the recession and the trade war hitting MAGA voters very heavily. Right now, Chinese ships have stopped coming over. The number they're coming into Long Beach and West Coast ports is dropping dramatically. The Baltic Dry Index, which tracks shipping, is dropping dramatically. China's basically said, okay, you want a trade war? Well, it's got to be a trade war. What is going to happen next? Well, good luck with Christmas. But a lot of MAGA voters are going to realize the first thing that's going to go are all those jobs, all those well paid longshoremen's jobs out there in California. Those are going to go pretty quickly. Ships don't come in, those guys aren't working. The next jobs that are going to go are the folks loading those CTI containers onto freight cars. Railroad jobs going to start dropping off. The next jobs that are going to go are trucking. It's going to go fast. The just-in-time economy is just what it sounds like. A container load full of widgets gets off of the boat from China to Long Beach on a big, massive container carrier. It gets scanned, it gets offloaded, it goes through customs, lickety split, bang, bang, boom, gets slapped on the back of a truck. Just lowered down with a crane onto the back of a truck. The truck drives off with the correct coordinates plugged into its GPS. The driver goes off and does his job. So no container ships coming in, no trains getting loaded, no trucks getting loaded. So now you got three groups of MAGA voters who are going to be jobless because of Donald Trump. None of this had to be this way. Now, look, are they going to change? Are they going to change their mind and go, oh, no, I now hate Trump? No, they're not. Mostly they're not. But they are going to be fucked. They are going to be suffering economically at a level to use a Trumpian phrase, at a level no one's ever seen before. And the idea that those trucks aren't going to be delivering those goods to Walmart, one of the largest employers in the country, one of the largest employers in many red states, the largest employer of African Americans in the country. The idea that those trucks aren't going to be delivering to Walmart means Walmart's going to start laying people off. A lot of them, maybe 50,000. It's going to get ugly. It's going to get ugly fast. Now, what this also means is that when your average MAGA suburban voter goes to Target or goes to Walmart, either stuff's not there or it's much, much more expensive. And every service they get, whether it's a medical care or going to the vet or going to the dentist or getting your hair cut or colored, there are a million ways this ramifies out through the economy. And nobody in Trump world has been smart enough to be able to explain it to Donald that his long held fetish for tariffs is a work of truly colossal political and economic idiocy. You know, back in the 70s and 80s, we had what they called the misery index, and it was a combination of inflation and unemployment. The misery index isn't quite what it used to be, but you were about to see a spike in inflation, a spike in unemployment, and a spike in a reduction of the quality of American life. And I think we might work out a formula for this at Lincoln and see what we can do to use it as a sort of benchmark. Because this MAGA misery index is an index of how fucked people are going to be in this country. And it's going to be, I think it should be an index of groups of people. I hope my staff is listening because we're going to work this up today. Um, yeah, Rick's delayed flight means more work for everybody. Um, but but you could also start to include things like the declining American lifespan. You know, we're expected to lose 2.3 years off of our lifespan because of the shit that RFK is doing. We were on a 40-year trajectory of reducing deaths from cancer, and that motherfucker is going to cause it to go up because we're canceling mRNA vaccine research on a cancer vaccine because he's letting measles run rampant because he doesn't give a fuck about bird flu running through the country. Doesn't care. He doesn't care. None of them care. But that misery index is going to continue to accrete as long as these people are in charge. So I want to remind everybody that the weak link here in Trump's universe is Republican members of the US Senate and the Republican House. Not all the Republican House, but it doesn't take many. It doesn't take many. Mike Johnson has such a narrow lane of travel that if Democrats would understand they have power here, for instance, there will not be another deal for any budget item. I'm going to tell them this till I'm blue in the face. There will not be a deal for any budget item or any spending bill or any CR or anything at all. There will not be a single appointment moved through the Senate. There will be no judges moved through the Senate. There'll be nothing anywhere. That Washington will come to a complete fucking halt until three things happen. One, Trump returns trade and tariff power to the legislator in Washington. It does not reside with the president. This emergency is bullshit. So either the House and Senate take it back, which they would, which by the way, you could get that vote You could get a 2/3 vote in the Senate on this right now. You could get a 2/3 vote in the Senate on it. You get a 2/3 vote in the House on it. These people are not stupid. They know what's happening, and they know they're going to be the ones who take the blame for it. But Democrats have to be strong about it. They cannot sit here and say, oh, well, maybe they'll come to their senses. No, they won't. Pain is the only teacher in politics. It is time to bring enormous pain to Donald Trump and the Republican Party. Everything they want gets frozen. If Democrats would understand they have power and not let Republicans play chicken with them and go, oh, you're going to shut the economy down with a CR. Fuck you. You shut the economy down with a trade war that has done more damage already than any imaginary damage that blocking the next Mike Johnson CR would do. The White House is desperate, desperate right now. They are scared. They are flailing. Trump is absolutely in hell right now. Not only because everything he's done has turned his head. Thank you for your cooperation. But they need to be more fearful. They need more people in the streets. Last weekend, amazing. The 50501 protests, amazing. But they need to get bigger and they need to get louder. And every single one of you, again, I'm going to beat the door down on this until people start doing it at scale. I know a lot of you have. I'm not mad at you guys, but every member of Congress needs to have their phones melted down every fucking day. The Republicans need to have their phones melted down for people in their districts who they are hurting right now. I mean, Virginia, first and second congressional districts right now. If you live in Virginia, in the first or second, which is down the Norfolk, Hampton Roads area, if you live down there, Elon Musk has fucked you out of 100,000 jobs. Your economy is about to go belly up. It's going to screw your kids out of a future. And if you're not calling every day and beating the door down, you're not doing your job. If you're not calling your member of Congress as a Democrat and saying, I need you up, I need you out, I need you loud, I need you big, I need you ready to hammer home every minute of the day. Democrats should not for 1 minute think they can rest on their laurels and let Trump fuck himself over. You got to keep hammering. You got to keep pounding him every day. Look, guys, he is shakier than you think. His approval ratings have fallen across the board. Okay. Even Rasmussen's trying to goose their numbers to get him from being upside down, and it's not working. He is the single worst president in the history of the United States by an order of magnitude. He is a worse president than Andrew Jackson. He's a worse president than Calhoun. Okay. Um, they're not mine. Sorry, guys. It's an airport. I do what I can. But look, none of this, okay, none of this works without you, the American people, being brave every day, standing up every day, and exercising your most fundamental right, and that is to address the people who represent you in Washington. Okay, to go at the people who represent you in Washington. They don't work. You don't. They don't work. You don't work for them. They work for you. They work for you. And I talked to somebody the other day who said, I couldn't get through to my congressman. I couldn't get through to my congressman. And I finally left a message at the local office and I said, I'm going to go out and register 100 voters in my neighborhood, and finally got a call back. You have to be out front. You have to be hard at them. Listen, the things he's doing nationally with the economy and internationally with the economy, disastrous. The unbelievable cruelty of holding U.S. citizens and people in the United States legally in foreign gulags is absurd and obscene. We can do everything at once, guys. We can walk and chew gum. We can move, shoot, and communicate, as they say. You can, or as you say in flying, you can aviate, navigate, and communicate. We've got to go out there every single day and keep this pressure up. Don't think he's going to fire people because we want him to, but he's going to be paralyzed because he won't do the things that he should do. And the louder we are to Congress, the more aggressive you are to Congress. And again, when you call them, be unfailingly polite, be unfailingly demanding. Don't scream, don't shout, don't threaten. Just make it clear. I'm going to work against you. I'm going to vote against you. I'm going to campaign against you. I'm going to raise money against you. I'm going to knock doors against you. I'm going to send postcards against you. I'm going to work every single day to find every one of your major donors and ask them why they're still supporting somebody who would wreck the economy and give Elon Musk and Donald Trump the power to destroy this country's economy. And remember, their ties to Elon are poison at a level that, I mean, the only way you could like phrase it in the inverse, if this were a Democrat and Republicans were looking, he would be like Dr. Atheist Von Gay, the celebrity abortionist. I mean, this would be you can't even caricature Elon how much he's hated anymore. You can't even like describe it in words. The responses voters are giving in focus groups like fuck that fucking guy and fuck him and fuck his family and fuck his dog. Fuck him all day long. People hate him. And the members of Congress who are bowing to Elon, that's another line of attack with them that you should be using when you call them and write them, because it is pure political, radioactive, toxic waste right now. So, look, this administration is under tremendous stress. Systems that are under stress look strong, but they are brittle. Trump is brittle. This administration is brittle. He wants nothing more to have fun than to have fun again. He wants to go golf every day. He wants to go have a ball golfing every day. He doesn't. He wants to be head of state, not head of government. Keep up the pressure. Keep up the work. I'm going to go try to get a plane to San Diego, where I'm supposed to be in the next, I don't know how many hours. Doesn't look promising at the moment, but I appreciate all of you very much. Hey, just so you know where to reach me and find me, I'm on Threads, Blue Sky, and Instagram at the Rick Wilson. I was on the other platform, but as you know that story. You can also follow me here on Substack. I appreciate everybody who tunes into Substack Lives. I love doing them. I wish I could read more questions than I can, without looking like I'm over the glasses on the screen. But you guys are strong and you're smart and you're doing the work. And I love this Substack community we've got right now, because it is really engaged right now in not depending on either corporate news or corporate America or any kind of fantasy land to talk and communicate and help fight our way out of this crisis that we're all in together. So I appreciate you guys very much. So I'm going to San Diego today. I'll be out there tomorrow for an event with Harry Littman. I'm in LA on Wednesday. I fly over to DC on Thursday, um, where I will have a brief day to catch up on podcasting and other work. And then on Friday night, the glamorous and gorgeous Renee joins me in DC for some White House Correspondents' Dinner fiestas. And then on Saturday, we've got some more stuff, including a Substack event. Looking forward to that very much. Not going to the dinner this year, but we are coming up to show the flag and to see some people and to talk to some folks. And then I fly home on Sunday and collapse into a coma. So it's going to be fun. Um, Anyways, folks, stay in the fight. We're all in this together. We're all pushing this. We're all pushing this rock up the hill. And once we get it over the top and it starts rolling down towards the other side of a blowout defeat for Donald Trump and his minions and his forces in 26, it's going to be less like work and more like hunting bad guys, on horseback. Tally ho. Talk to you soon.